Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about The Traitors Season 3, Episode 9, titled A Silent Assassin. Last week on The Traitors, Chriselle sold her last sunset when she met the Traitors face to face, and after a creepy doll challenge, Sierra from Summer House found out that some are winners and some are not, when she was banished from the game. Before I dive in, I put a link in the description to my playlist where you can catch up on my previous Traitors videos. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. My recaps aren't meant to replace the original material, so if you missed the episode, I highly encourage you to seek it out on Peacock to enjoy and form your own opinion. But let's dive into it. We pick back up where we left off. Carolyn and Danielle are still disagreeing about who to recruit. Danielle is fighting hard to recruit Brittany, telling Carolyn that she'll always choose Carolyn over Brittany. It's a no from Carolyn, dog. They lean towards picking someone to eliminate. Danielle suggests Dylan, and Carolyn shuts that down because people will think her friend Gabby is a traitor, and they consider the obvious faithfuls, Sam and Dolores. They leave the turret more enemies with each other than ever. The next day, Carolyn and Gabby are the first at breakfast. Carolyn is planting seeds with Gabby that Danielle is a traitor. Players trickle in. Danielle is wearing her crazy hat. It comes down to Dylan or Sam, with Dylan the last to come back, with flashback to the traitors choosing him because he has influence in the game as a faithful. So we lose Sam here, who I predicted was coming on the show to help his reputation, in a similar way to Tom, and while he started the season quiet, had the traitors been picking off random quiet players like they should have, he would have been gone early, but he manages to stick around for a while. He was a surprisingly good player, with a perfect voting record at the round table for the banished player, always going with the group and speaking up from time to time. I was impressed and feel he probably got everything he wanted out of this. Good for him. Alan enters in a picnic blanket suit with a little Hunger Games ponytail. I found this hairdo disturbing. Dylan tells us he feels that someone he's close to is a traitor and is keeping him around to trick him in the end. For my best dress at breakfast, I'm gonna give it to Gabby. This outfit was so Bachelor Nation. The players disperse. Tom is back to believing Dolores is a traitor because she doesn't try for shields and is defensive. Danielle is starting against Carolyn, running by Dolores that the traitors have been attacking other people at the round table and Carolyn attacked her. Dylan comes around to Gabby, feeling like Gabby would have killed him if she were a traitor because he voted for her multiple times. Gabby says the men always come back, girlies. They leave off feeling like Danielle is a traitor, and Dylan brings this to Carolyn, telling Carolyn that he thinks Danielle is the person who's dragging him along in the game. Elsewhere, Brittany cries to Danielle, saying she was so scared. When Brittany asks Danielle if she's gonna target Carolyn, Danielle tells her to stay tuned for the round table. They head to their challenge where there's a giant chessboard on the field. Alan has upgraded his look to include a houndstooth coat and a chess piece fascinator that I enjoy. Flashback to the turret where the traitors were asked to answer questions about the group. In the challenge, the group need to guess what the traitors answered. The traitors can nudge the group and help them go in the right or wrong direction. Alan brings in some veterans, Kate and Parvati, looking gorgeous in black and white, and says she's impressed with Alan's headband. High praise. The veterans will be reading the questions to the group and giving commentary along the way. The first chess piece is the snake. Which player has been flying under the radar? The traitors picked Brittany. Dolores suggests Brittany and the traitors agree. Brittany moves the snake piece to her spot on the board and the ominous Dementor piece knocks it out, revealing they got it right and earned $5,000. The next question is the skull. Who's the biggest threat to the traitors? The traitors picked Brittany again. Tom thinks he's the biggest threat to the traitors. Kate comments that Tom is basically a narcissist and of course he would choose himself. The group picks Tom and are wrong. The Dementor goes out of his way to fake them out and runs all around the board to get past Tom to Brittany to tell them they won no money. The wolf. Who's the leader of the pack? The traitors pick Tom, saying he's arrogant and would say himself. Tom pushes his name again, which annoys the sideline queens. The group leans towards Dylan, and Carolyn is being really vocal to get the group to change their answer back to Tom. They still choose Dylan and are wrong. When Tom is revealed as the right answer, Dolores points out that Carolyn was pushing Tom's name, and a confessional from Dylan that it's obvious that Carolyn has been picking the answers. The last piece is the rat. Whose voice is most irrelevant? Danielle let Carolyn pick herself. Carolyn starts the deliberation off pushing her own name. She didn't really try to be tactful with it. They get this question right, totaling $10,000 for the day, and a ton of suspicion on Carolyn. Dylan tells us that Carolyn is the only person who believes that she doesn't have a voice. And we say goodbye to Kate and Parvati, who were a nice addition to the episode but truly did nothing. I know it's late in the season, but was anyone else hoping they would join the game? In the car ride home, Dylan tells Tom about his Carolyn observations, and Carolyn bird calls in confessional to lament the possibility that Danielle set her up in the challenge. Back at the castle, Ivor, who yes is still on the show, tells Carolyn and Tom that he's suspicious of Danielle, and when Carolyn leaves them, Ivor and Tom agree that Carolyn isn't capable of being a traitor, and if she is, she deserves an Oscar. Carolyn dismisses Danielle, asking Dylan for private time. Dylan tells Carolyn that it's between she and Danielle, setting up a face-off between Carolyn and Danielle. Carolyn cries to Dylan, saying that nobody listens to her and she's certain that Danielle's the traitor. Similarly, Ivor tells Danielle that she's an option and that Carolyn has been putting Danielle's name out there. Danielle tells us that she has the receipts on Carolyn, and she calls Carolyn Detective Columbo because she acts dumb but is smart. So they head to the round table where Danielle is ready to take Carolyn to Pound Town. Alan's outfit has reached its final form, a gorgeous sparkling checkerboard poncho. Alan lets them get started, and after a 9 months pregnant pause, Ivor says he thinks there are 2 traitors left and they're both girls. Dylan suspects that the coming twist is they'll be able to directly ask someone if they're a faithful or traitor. They tell him he's getting ahead of himself. Carolyn then calls out Danielle, saying that Danielle has lied in the game, which isn't faithful behavior. Elaborating on what the lie was, Carolyn says that when Danielle told Brittany that Carolyn was coming for her, that was the lie. Danielle says it was the truth. Danielle tells Carolyn that she plays dumb and is Forrest Gump Columbo, and Danielle says they're gonna have a one-on-one and get this out of the table. Danielle gets passionate, quivering in her voice. She calls Carolyn out for her behavior in the challenge. Carolyn's points are that she's been alone in the game, and Danielle calls her a silent assassin. Oops, she said the thing. Carolyn's voice starts cracking as she's crying, and the group gets to voting. Dolores and Tom vote for each other. Carolyn and Gabby vote for Danielle, and Ivor, Danielle, Brittany, and Dylan all vote for Carolyn. So Carolyn is banished. She says a long teary goodbye, saying she's judged for being different. She just wanted to have fun, but being a traitor isn't fun. Revealing she's a traitor to the group, they lose their minds, of course, but Danielle especially. She's on the ground convulsing and crying, and the other players are eating this up. So we lose Carolyn here. Pre-season, I felt she definitely would not be picked as a traitor. I referenced that she was underestimated by her other players on Survivor, and I feel like in my assessment, I underestimated her myself. If these players were operating like the season 2 cast, where every odd breath made someone a target for banishment, she could have been in a worse spot. And while she complained a lot about the other traitors not listening to her, she greatly benefited from all the infighting and random eliminations done by the traitors. Since none of them were what she wanted, they could never be traced back to her. While I think she had good knowledge of how to play, I feel she mismanaged the relationship with Danielle, where it does feel like Danielle was trying to actually work with Carolyn at multiple times for both their benefit, but Carolyn was really intent on targeting Danielle, which was in turn self-sabotage. She played the chess challenge poorly, really falling into a trap set by Danielle. She made it a bit obvious when she should have really acted clueless and been giving wrong answers, and we found that she chose a terrible enemy in Danielle, who is just a better game player than her. With that said, I think she performed better than I expected this season, and was at multiple times in the best spot to win. Everyone who was eliminated was shocked to hear that she was a traitor, and praised her game. She did a great job this season, and I'm looking forward to seeing her on Survivor 50. Following Carolyn's banishment, the other players praised Danielle for catching a traitor, but later, Gabby tells Tom and Brittany that the roundtable argument was giving Rob and Bob traitor on traitor fighting, and Brittany suspects Danielle is a traitor and dragging her along. Danielle heads to the turret alone, the last traitor standing. Alan obviously gives her the decision to recruit an accomplice, a final chance to recruit in the game. She'll meet one player face to face and give them an ultimatum: join her or die. What a choice. Brittany obviously gets a letter to meet a traitor. Not knowing her fate, she heads down to the dungeon. And that's where the episode ends. Some thoughts on this episode. Last week's postmortem saw Chriselle not being shocked at Danielle being a traitor, saying she was onto her. Yeah, okay. But she gave Carolyn a round of applause, saying Carolyn had everyone fooled. They didn't really show Sierra's reaction. Hello, we care. The traitors finally offed Sam, which I think was the right thing to do for them, as there was nobody to recruit that would benefit both of them. It prevents the guys from sticking together to the end and eliminating the girls. The daily challenge was a bit of a snooze, but I liked that they let the traitors play into the challenge. And I think there should be more of the traitors manipulating the game. For example, an incentive for the traitors to sabotage the daily challenge, and if they prevent the group from winning money, they can pocket a few $1,000s no matter what. This would really incentivize the faithful to want to whittle down the traitors to protect the pot, and also give the faithfuls some actual clues as to who the traitors are. The Carolyn and Danielle face-off was a lot of fun. This was one of the best episodes of the season, and now that Danielle recruited Brittany, I'm left wondering, where do we go from here? If it's the same as last season, they'll be asked to murder someone after the recruitment. I think they should eliminate Ivor. He's wasting space and an obvious faithful. Once Ivor's gone, they'll have the seer twist, where they'll be competing for a chance to find out if someone is really a faithful or a traitor. The traitors need to play the next episode perfectly, because if one of them is caught, both of them are caught. It's the faithfuls' games to lose right now. They could get Danielle and Brittany out and sail to the end, with the emerging Gabby-Dylan duo being a satisfying enough end result. But there's room for the traitors to game this out. They need to focus, and if they could somehow get to the finale with Tom and Dolores, who are hellbent on voting for each other no matter what, and fan the flame between Gabby and Dylan, their 2 votes could be super powerful. But if Danielle is banished and doesn't vote for Brittany on the way out, it could be a nice little kiss goodbye by basically framing another faithful to get the suspicion off of Brittany. Brittany and Danielle winning together as traitors would make this one of the most rewatchable seasons of reality TV of all time. And I don't think the show is telling any other story. But that's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of Sam and Carolyn's departures, and where do you think we're going from here? If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back next week with more traitors. I'm also recapping Deal or No Deal Island, the Challenge All Stars 5, and starting on Wednesday, Survivor 48. Have a nice weekend. Bye!